This is Jeff Allen from Olympic ESD, and I'm here with Chan Hellman from the University of Oklahoma and Hope Research Center. And so we've got a few moments to talk with Chan. And Chan, we've got a group of Hope Navigators in the state of Washington, particularly a group in the K-12 space. And I know that the role of a Hope Navigator, or the definition of a Hope Navigator, has evolved over time in your work. So I want to ask you, what do you call a Hope Navigator now? And what does a Hope Navigator do in the context of a school to help build a Hope-centered school for the students and staff?
Yeah, so thank you, Jeff. So you're right. The model itself has evolved as we've learned, as we've grown. We ultimately have a multi-tiered training model. And I think you said something that was really important is, in the context of a Hope-centered school. And, from the multi-tiered training model, we have a leadership level of training so that leaders understand what Hope is and, try to begin to initiate activities through that lens of Hope that creates a culture of well-being, predominantly for teachers, counselors, and staff in the school. Who can then transition that to the students. The Hope awareness piece is really part of making sure that all staff, all core members of the school understand the basics of hope, and that it's more than wishing, it's more than an emotion, that it's actually a framework for taking action to promote well-being. And so then ultimately the Hope Navigator is really the key agent of change within the school. The Hope Navigator is that 2-day, 12-hour training, but the basic focus is for the Hope Navigators to create a strategic implementation plan for their school or for the environment that they're focused on. So the basic idea is to take that broad, deep knowledge and to walk away with not only what Hope is, but how do you implement it into practice, whether that's in a parent-teacher conference or, working in an alternative school. But really the Hope Navigator is the change agent for the school. The reason for the multi-tiered model is because I need to make sure as much as we can that when the Hope Navigator begins to implement strategies, they're doing so in an environment where the leadership already understands what Hope is. And that as much as possible, their colleagues have a basic understanding of Hope. That being said, we also need to find strategies to really support the Hope Navigator. So how do we help them develop a 15-minute, 30-minute refresher, or how do you onboard new staff about what Hope is? But I really want their core focus on implementing Hope-centered strategies.
So you mentioned leaders. So in many cases, the Hope Navigators, or the people that have engaged in the Hope Navigator training, are counselors or classroom teachers, and necessarily their leadership within the building have not had access to that training. So what advice can you give to those Hope Navigators in that situation to help inform not only their colleagues within the building, but also leadership within the building?
Sure. So, I think this really gets into that key difference between teaching hope and nurturing hope. And, the idea is that Hope Navigators, what we want them to do is focus on implementing strategies that will nurture hope. That, if they create a specific process, that when people engage in the process, they may be doing hope and not even know it. But it's goals, pathways, and that willpower piece. I think a key component of supporting Hope Navigators, helping to educate or to create a supportive environment with leaders, might be, for instance, to take the TED Talk as, you know, a good 15-minute, easy to watch video. And then maybe to think about 2 or 3 guided conversation discussion points about what is hope, how's it different from wishing, what does hope look like in our school, maybe asking a leader, where do they see hope in action? Where do they see the loss of hope? And then probably from that conversation is, are there targeted activities that we can do to nurture and restore hope in those spaces? So I think 2 or 3 guided discussion questions, you know, with that really simple video is a good start. I know other Hope Navigators have taken the Hope Rising book and have done book clubs, but that can be a little bit time intensive, and might be better for, you know, smaller groups or larger groups of individuals to go through that journey together.
Great. All right. Well, Chan, thank you very much. I appreciate you taking a few moments to share that insight. I appreciate looking in the background, your famous chalkboard, which is, my understanding, the only chalkboard left at the University of Oklahoma. But thank you so much, and looking forward to seeing you again here in Washington State.
Thank you, Jeff. And I'm always excited to spend a little bit of time with my good friends and cousins from the great state of Washington.
Okay. Thank you.